That's right. Welcome, everybody. This is your Week 11 OGFFL video show. I'm, of course, your host, your commissioner, most importantly, your current OGFFL champion, Mr. Robert Trano. Welcome, everybody. First things first, here we go. I got a big show today. I'm hoping to get through everything within a short period of time. But I had a lot of cool stuff here going on today. But first things, we got to congratulate Gio for the second time winning high score. Actually, second time in the last 2 weeks. I believe 2 or 3 weeks. So congratulations, Gio. That brings us to an overall. Let's look at everybody overall who's won it so far this year for high score. Alex twice, Richard Mark twice, now Gio twice. The only three two-time winners. Joe once, Matt once, and myself once. So like I said, got another big show today. Still no more crying about my team. Fantasy playoffs are done. Now I'm just hoping to not win that illustrious toilet bowl trophy. And right now, I was hoping maybe at least I could get a bye in the preliminary brackets, so I wouldn't be able have the potential of getting the toilet bowl trophy. But it looks like right now I will absolutely be going in the first round of the toilet bowl champion. But to be honest, I would love to have the chance to pick my draft pick for next year. But so today we got news and notes real quick. Then we're going to do a Week 10 rankings. Who's hot, who's not? That's back again this week. We're going to update the ultimate team, the ultimate lineup, points-wise, see how everyone did compared to the ultimate lineup. And we got a new segment here, the Fantasy MVPs. Those are the Fantasy MVP players so far this season. And, of course, everyone's favorite, the Blazing 3 picks. So let's start here with news and notes, guys. We got some teams on the bye: Atlanta, Denver, the Jets, and San Diego. Some big players there: Philip Rivers, Matt Ryan, some quarterbacks to name, and a lot of wide receivers: Brandon Marshall, Emmanuel Sanders, Tyrell Williams, Julio Jones, a lot of good players this week on bye. Let's look at some positions here. Running back Christine Michael, he was waived today. Makes room for Thomas Rawls to come back. And also CJ Prosise looks like he's definitely going to be in the mix going forward, even with Thomas Rawls. Derrick Henry, he's back to a backup role. What's going on in that Philly backfield? Now, you may look, Ryan Matthews had a huge day. Yeah, well, Wendell Smallwood, I think, had 13 or 17 touches, something like that. And Darren Sproles only had 2 carries, but he had 70 yards. That whole backfield was just dominant on Sunday. So who knows what's going on with that backfield. If you guys want Ryan Matthews, he's available. Go ahead, take him off my hands, because I obviously don't need him. Injuries, Tevin Coleman, we're looking out at him. Deion Lewis, now, Bill Belichick said he wasn't inactive because of injury. He was inactive just because I guess they want to give him more time to come back. They do want him prepped and ready for the playoffs. So hopefully maybe he returns this week. And we got to look out for that Jordan Howard injury. He says it's nothing, but let's see going forward. Jordan Howard, what's going on with him? Wide receivers, Alshon Jeffrey suspended for 4 games now due to substance abuse. Who knows what the substance was, but he's out the next 4 weeks. I don't know if he's going to get that big paycheck that he thought he was going to get now this offseason. Honestly, if I was him, I would accept another franchise tag if the Bears were to give it to him, and I'd go another year trying to get a big time contract. Injuries, Sammy Coates, it comes out that he finally comes out that he has broken fingers in his hand. That's why he hasn't played. He's been active for some reason, but I don't know what they're doing. If you got broken fingers in your hand, you're a receiver, how the hell are you going to catch the ball? Jeremy Maclin, who knows what's going on with him. Victor Cruz, for those who may be playing him. And Sammy Watkins could be returning in the next couple of weeks. Now, they say he's not ready yet, may not be close to ready. If you pick him up, if you get him, maybe fantasy playoffs. But who knows? He may be coming back soon. Quarterbacks, Jared Goff is your new starter over in St. Louis. So any offensive players at St. Louis, watch out. Actually, I said St. Louis. It's now the L.A. Rams. The L.A. Rams' new starter is Jared Goff. Ryan Fitzpatrick and Bryce Petty. Who knows what's going on with that? Bryce Petty started last week. Ryan Fitzpatrick may be healthy this week. If they go back to him, if they don't, we'll find out next week because the Jets are on a bye. RG3, they're saying he should return this season. Watch out for the Browns offense. And Dak Prescott is your starter in Dallas. I don't think we have any inclination that Tony Romo will be getting that starting job back, because Dak has led that team to an 8-1 record. Now, has he led them to an 8-1 record? I say no, but he's the quarterback of an 8-1 team. You don't want to mess that up. I was on the Romo bandwagon. Get him in there. You potentially are 9-0 if you have Romo in there. I don't think Dak can win you a Super Bowl. I think Romo has the potential, maybe, but just watch out for that. I still think Dak will have the starting rest of the year. And our big injury news of the week, tight end Rob Gronkowski. Watch out for him. They said he had a punctured lung. Then they said he didn't. He got hit hard by Earl Thomas. Let's see how he does this week in practice. And, of course, our league news, our trade deadline. I thought it was last week. It's actually this week, guys, November 19th. Trades finish this week. If you want to improve your team, if you want to do anything with your team, you want to throw everybody away, November 19th is the final date. Just make sure there's no collusion going on. So we go for that. And now to one of your favorite segments, the Week 10 rankings. All right, so as we see here, guys, not a lot of movement on the top, not a lot of movement on the bottom, but a lot of movement in the middle. Gio, major up 3 spots today, up to the 5th spot, and Matt all the way down out of the top 3 down to the number 6 position. Everybody else kind of moving up 1 spot, moving down 2 spots. But the big movers are Gio and Matt and Alex. Once again, the number 1 position in the power rankings this week. So, yeah, not a lot of moving and shaking, guys. Just Gio and Matt moving 3 spots. You see Alex is the first team to reach 70 points for the season, or at least 71 wins on the season. I actually moved a game closer to the top spot this week. I only had 4 points this week, but Alex had 3. So I actually moved 1 spot ahead. Richard Mark had a big gainer. They're up to 65 points. Joe up to 4th now with 59. Gio with 58 right behind him, up to the 5th spot and climbing. You got Matt and Andrew both tied at 57 with the 6th and the 7th spot right there. Then you got Ramiro at 52. Ed 9th at 49 points. And then you got your bottom 3 as always. Miguel with 46 points. George with 43. And our big boy Ramazan with 35 points. All right, so there's your rankings, guys. Now we're going to go to our awesome new segment, Who's Hot and Who's Not. Woo! That's what I'm talking about. We have a new hottest team in the league, and that is yours truly. Now, the wins may not be showing up on the board, but the points are in the rankings. I myself have 29 points in the last 4 weeks, but 111 points per game, my team. Ramiro around number 2, stays in the top 3 with hottest teams in the league, 106 points per game, 28 points. And Andrew rounds out the top 3 with 27 points and over 109 points per game. Yeah, so if you guys want to go back and pause that and just see who's hot, who's not, myself, Ramiro, and Andrew, the hottest teams in the league right now. Alex falls out from last week. He goes to number 4 with 25 points in the last 3 weeks. Then you got Gio and Rich and Mark with 23 points in the last 4 weeks. Sorry, not fully 3 weeks, 4 weeks. A lot of high scores, as you see. All top 9 teams in the last 4 weeks have averaged over 100 points. I don't think I've ever seen this many points scored in fantasy. Usually between 90, 95, 100, 105. Well, you were a solid team. We got 9 teams right now averaging over 100 per week in the last 4 weeks. We have a great league. I don't see this in many other leagues going on. I mean, I don't know if you guys do, but I definitely don't. Our league has been killing it this year. And then rounding at the top, the bottom 3, Ed with 17 points in the last 4 weeks, Ramazan with 15, and George, the coldest team in the last 4 weeks, shows in our records with 12 points in the last 4 weeks after reaching only 3 with 89 points per game, the coldest team in the league. So I'm not going to put the ultimate lineup board up there for you guys to see, but just to let you know, Week 10, the ultimate lineup averages 101.8 points this week. Five of the winners outpaced the ultimate lineup, and 3 losers outpaced the ultimate lineup this week. And for the season, we still have 5 teams who average above the season average 4 of them are currently playoff teams. Alex with an average of 110, actually almost 111. Richard Mark with an average of 109. Matt with an average of 102. Gio with an average of 106. And myself with an average of 107 are averaging over the season average for the ultimate lineup. I'm going to update the how many times have people exceeded the ultimate lineup. Alex is still number 1. He's exceeded the ultimate lineup at 8 weeks. Richard Mark and myself have done it 7 weeks. Matt and Gio have done it 6 times. Joe, Ramiro, and Andrew have done it 5 times. Miguel and George have done it 4 times. Ed's done it 3 times. And finally, Ramazan did it this week. Congratulations, Ramazan. You defeated the ultimate lineup, and you got a victory out of it. So congratulations this week. Now, onto a new segment. I'm going to ignore that for now. We got the fantasy MVPs. Now, what I did is I looked at every single week. I saw who finished in the top 12. Top 12. Who was a number 1 player? Who was a number 1 starting caliber player in fantasy that week for per position? And I see how many times was that player in the top 12 every single week. And we have winners. We have leaders. We have major leaders. We have these are our MVPs. So when I give you a name and a number, that's how many times that person has finished in the top 12 in fantasy scoring in our league. And those I would consider our fantasy MVPs. Now we'll start off with our quarterbacks. Quarterback, the number 1 quarterback this year, our fantasy MVP quarterback is Matt Ryan. He's finished with 7. Now they're finally on their bye week this week. He's an extra game, but he's in the league so far with 7 weeks in the top 12. Now we have a bunch of players that have 6. We have Andrew Luck, Drew Brees, Jameis Winston, Aaron Rodgers, Phillip Rivers, and Marcus Mariota, each with 6 games in the top 12. So 6 out of 10 or whatever however many they've played so far. But Matt Ryan is your number 1 fantasy MVP right now in the quarterback position with 7 top 12 finishes so far this year. Wide receiver. So I did 1 quarterback, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 1 kicker, 1 defense. I basically made our fantasy lineup. No flex. We're going to get into that. So wide receivers, we had 2 actually finish with the same amount at the top. Mike Evans and Julio Jones, each with 5 top 12 finishes throughout the year. Killing it. I mean, usually with quarterbacks, you can tell who's going to finish in the top 12. Wide receivers is a very, very difficult, and I'll give you a reason why. I'll give you here just 2 seconds. Over under. I'll give you a guess. Over under 70 different players who have finished in the top 12 in wide receiver scoring. Over under 70. I'll give you 2 seconds. All right, it's under. But 66 different wide receivers have finished in the top 12 scoring this year at one point or another. 66! That's incredible. 66 different wide receivers have finished in the top 12. The fact that Mike Evans and Julio Jones have 5 is pretty incredible. And then you got Antonio Brown, Amari Cooper, and Jordy Nelson with 4. Everybody else with 3, 2. I mean, Odell's got 3. He's been kind of a disappointment Actually, Odell's got 3. Brandon Cooks, AJ Green. You got some big names here. Some surprises, I guess. Tyrell Williams has got 3. But I would say the real surprises, you got the players like Des Bryant, who's only got 2. Crabtree, who's been good so far, he's only got 2. Kelvin Benjamin is only finished in the top 12 scoring in wide receivers once. He's only been a number 1 receiver once this year. I mean, it's crazy. Go down the list. Marvin Jones, he's had a huge start. Only 1 time was he in the top 12 scoring. Emmanuel Sanders, once. A lot of big name wide receivers. Randall Cobb only once that you thought maybe had a chance of being big time. To be honest, they've only finished once in the top 12 scoring. Let's go back to quarterbacks as I'm looking here at the spreadsheet I got here. You could say some overachievers, Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston. You didn't know how good they were going to be looking at this list, but you got the likes of Eli Manning and Dak Prescott finishing out the top 12 with 5 top 12 finishes so far this year. But then you got like Tom Brady. He's got 4. He missed 4 games, so that would be bigger if it were him. But you have the likes with Carson Palmer. He's only finished as a top 1 quarterback twice. And what's more significant about that is because you only start 1 quarterback. So you want to look for a number 1 quarterback. Carson Palmer only finished twice in 10 weeks in the top 12. Then you got guys like, let's see, Andy Dalton has finished 3. Alex Smith has finished 3 times. Kirk Cousins, Blake Bortles 4 times. Cam Newton, for how high he was getting drafted, only 4 times out of the 10 weeks has he been a number 1 quarterback, because he's been a starting quarterback. It's a lot of parity this year, and you can see it when you look at this. So Matt Ryan is our quarterback. Mike Evans and Julio Jones are our 2 wide receivers, our 2 running backs. 1 surprise, 1 not surprise. Our number 1 leading running back right now with 8 top 12 finishes is DeMarco Murray. The dude has been a stud. If he only did 1 running back, he would be the fantasy MVP. But we do 2. We have a tie for second with David Johnson with 7 and Melvin Gordon with 7. And I'm putting David Johnson in the second position for fantasy MVP. And the reason why is, 1, he's played 1 less game than Melvin Gordon. And David Johnson is that one player that has actually lived up to his draft position. You can't really say, to be honest, that Antonio Brown or any of the first-round pick has lived up to their potential like David Johnson has, and that's why he is one of the fantasy MVPs. Then you got your tight end, Greg Olsen. He's been dominant. But look at this. Look at this lineup. I mean, of course, you got Rob Gronkowski. He only has 4. But Greg Olsen has 7. Kyle Rudolph 6. Delaney Walker and Jimmy Grant have 5. The rest, everybody else has 4 or under. Julio, Julius Thomas, Eric Ebron, Jack Doyle, Martellus Bennett, Zach Miller, Cameron Brate, Hunter Henry, Vernon Davis all have 4. They all have more than this one guy, and he's my number 1 disappointment so far this year at the tight end position. And that's my guy, Mr. Jordan Reed, with 2 top 12 finishes in the tight end position. I took him very high, and he's been a bust for me on my team. Yes, he's been injured. Still, that means you're a damn bust. Kickers, here we go. Kicker real quick. Leading the pack with 8 top 12 finishes, you have Mr. Matt Bryant. That's right. 3 Atlanta Falcons finish out in the fantasy MVP category. So Matt Bryant has 8. The rest kind of round out a bit. You got a couple with 6. So he's been killing it. He has 8. A couple with 6. Adam Vinatieri, Dustin Hopkins, Carlos Santos, Brendan McManus, and Caleb Sturgis all have 6. Everybody else has less than that. Guys like Justin Tucker. Look at Steven Hauschka with 5. And look at this, Steven Gostkowski, one of the highest kickers taken in the league, has only finished in the top 12 twice this year. Now, onto defense. I know defense is defense, but if you look at how many teams finish in the top 12 of defense, you can really kind of get to tell, see who's scoring a lot of points. You got your big guy. You got Denver, who was a high draft pick. They're number 7. They're at the top of the list. But a surprise, tied with them at number 7 with 7 top 12 finishes. That would be the defense in Baltimore. Denver and Baltimore tied for the fantasy MVP this week. Then you got the likes of Seattle with 6, Minnesota with 5, Kansas City with 6. Then you got like Miami, Philly, Buffalo, Houston, New Orleans with 5, LA with 5, Tennessee with 5, San Diego with 5. So you can see there's a bunch of teams kind of towards the top. But there's one defense, 31 teams have finished in the top 12 at one point this season in scoring. One team hasn't. I'll give you 10 seconds here to think about this. One team hasn't scored in the top 12 scoring at least once. Who do you think that is? If you said the Jacksonville Jaguars, you are correct. The Jacksonville Jaguars are the only team to not score in the top 12 at least once in defense on a weekly basis. It's crazy. But let's go. We're going to go through this real quick. We're going to go through the blazing 3 picks. Last week, I was 2-1 for overall record of the season. I'm 10-11. Our first matchup, Gio versus Miguel. Gio, this team looks scary good. Ready for a run at the chip. No doubt about it. You had a couple big trades in the middle of the season. You got Antonio Brown. You got Le'Veon Bell. You got Dez Bryant. But a combination of Marcus Mariota and Derek Carr. That is a scary, scary team to look at. Miguel, another luck of the draw win. I can't believe it. How lucky you've been. But hey, It's good to be lucky, I'll tell you that much. But can Big Ben alone win you this matchup? I'm going to say no, because no low score for Gio here. I got Gio for the win. Joe versus Matt. Now, Joe, this is a must-win game for you here. Murray has been a stud. Russell Wilson looks like he's returning to form. Julio Jones out of bye for you. It's a big guy out of bye. Can you replace him? You got Matt. Where the hell has DeAndre Hopkins been? Minnesota defense looks terrible right now. Andrew Luck sneakily having a very consistent season. Like I said, he's had 6 top 12 finishes in 10 weeks. Actually, technically in 9 weeks because they just had a bye. I think this is a close, low-scoring match, but I got Matt for the victory because you got a lot of good matchups, and Andrew Luck, I like him on your side. Then you got my matchup of the week here, guys. Alex versus Rich and Mark, number 1 versus number 3. Now, Alex, you've been the number 1 team for a while now. You've been killing it. In my rankings have showed it, and the standings have showed it. Now, watch out for QBs on Thursday night. Now, Joe Flacco did good, but he played against Cleveland, and Cleveland gives up points to all quarterbacks. You got Drew Brees, so watch out for him this Thursday night. McCoy returns for you, hopefully healthy after the bye. Now, Rich and Mark, you're flying high. You're all the way up to 3rd. You're moving up my rankings. You're moving up the standings. Will Deion Lewis return this week? Like I said, it wasn't injury related that he was out. Will he return? If he does, he's going against the San Francisco defense. That is horrible against the run. Deion Lewis isn't a running back. He's more of a catching back. But we'll see if he plays. He should have a great matchup. In fact, all your team has good matchups this week. And this is, like I said, this is my matchup of the week. And I got Rich and Mark for the upset here. So Rich and Mark is my winners. So to come back, I got Rich and Mark for the win. Let me see here. I got Matt for the win, and I got Gio for the win. That's it for me, fellas. I hope this didn't take too long of your time. Have a great night. Good weekend. Carolina versus New Orleans this week, Thursday night. Get those players in your lineup, or get them out if you don't want them in there. I'll see you soon. I hope you guys have a great night.